Hey everyone, and welcome to Healthcare Informatics in 3 slides. My name is Dr. David Robbins, and I'm here at Stanford University in our Department of Health Informatics and Information Management. And one of the questions we get pretty often, at least for people that are not familiar with our discipline, is, what exactly is informatics? What does that even mean? And so hopefully this video will help you to understand what informatics is. One of my favorite diagrams that helps to describe what informatics is this one here, and we call this the virtuous cycle of informatics. So you can see right here at the top we have information. So health informatics is really about getting the right information into the right hands at the right time so that the right decision can be made. And this time component is very important. Obviously, we need to get the information into the hands of the decision maker, but we need to do it at a time when they can make the decision, when that decision is actionable. So we want the information in the right hands at the right time, and when this leads to the right decision, we get the right results. And in the case of healthcare informatics, this, of course, is going to refer to healthcare outcomes. So better care is provided for the student or for the patient. They lose weight, they improve their health, they overcome a disease, they're cured of whatever it is that they're suffering from, or they're able to optimize their health in some cases. And then those right results, of course, are going to lead to additional data, and we're going to be able to perform more analysis on that data, which, of course, is going to lead to more information in the form of evidence that we can use to kind of go around this cycle again. So that's why we call it the virtuous cycle of informatics. And this, in my mind, is the most interesting part of this virtuous cycle, although the rest of it, really down here is where the healthcare provider comes in, and over here we've got the patient. But really the top half of this diagram is where we deal with the information that is needed in healthcare. So informatics and information, as you might expect, it's right there in the word. Informatics, information, they share most of the same letters. And as you can see, informatics does in fact deal with information. And you might be wondering, what exactly is information? How do I think about this? So there are a lot of definitions that are available to us for concepts such as knowledge, information, and data. Now, digging into the specifics of those definitions is probably more than we want to get into here. But the important thing to know is that information is sort of what lies between raw data and knowledge. So if we think about knowledge as being the stuff that's in our heads, it's all this really well-connected information. And then data is just the raw facts and figures. So this could be something like a patient's weight or a patient's age, or we could use their date of birth. It's basically information or data, about the patient, their body temperature, their blood pressure, all these sorts of things. When we put this together, we are able to develop information about that particular patient. Maybe we're able to realize, this patient has a particular disease, or this patient has a particular condition that we need to treat. And then that information, in turn, as we see it across many examples, leads to additional knowledge. So this is kind of the idea. But the main idea here is that we deal with information and informatics, and that's kind of the layer between data and knowledge. Now, interestingly, what we traditionally call IT, or information technology, actually mostly deals with data. So computers are really good at handling large amounts of data. We have terms like big data to refer to the stuff that computers handle. And this, of course, for the most part, is just these raw facts and figures. It doesn't necessarily have all the context that we would normally associate with information. And so even though we call it information technology, it's really more data technology. But information technology is where we begin to deal with the actual information that we need to make decisions, to take action, and so forth. And that happens at the layer right above the data layer. So this would be something like, our electronic health record, or something along those lines. One of the other things I want to point out as we start to look at this next slide, which really deals with all the different areas of informatics, informatics sort of exists at the intersection of people, information, and technology. So of course there's the human component, and that of course is where the knowledge happens. The technology component, going back to what we just discussed, is where we're going to deal with the data itself. And then the information component is really the glue that binds those two things together. So we've got people, information, and technology. That is the overall field of informatics. And then if we look at informatics, there's a number of different ways we can go. We can either go to a specific type of application, such as imaging informatics. So whether we're looking at pictures of cars or cats or x-rays or humans or whatever it happens to be, the tools that we use in those to process those pictures, to process the information in those pictures, we can consider to be imaging informatics. On the other side, we've got research informatics. So this is going to be sort of an application area. If we're using informatics to do research, that is to generate new knowledge based on the information that we have, we can consider that to be research informatics. And then we can also apply that to a specific field. So in this case, we've got legal informatics or chemoinformatics, which deals with informatics in chemical engineering and chemical discoveries and so forth. And then, of course, what we're interested in our Department of Health Informatics is going to be biomedical and health informatics. So this deals with the use of information and information technologies, specifically in healthcare. And then when we look at biomedical and health informatics, we can break that field down a little further, and we can really look at a spectrum. So on the one side, we've got something very detailed, and then on the other side, we've got something that's very broad. So bioinformatics, we're going to deal with individual cells and molecules, and even genomics, which deals with just the genes and so forth that are within the cell, and we call that field bioinformatics. So that deals with very detailed information. And then we also have medical informatics, which is going to be dealing with medicine, and in this case, we're focused on individual persons, not necessarily cells and molecules, but on individual persons, which of course have many cells and are sort of made up of tissues and organs and so forth. And then on the other side, we've got public health informatics, which is going to deal not with individual people, but with entire populations of people, so collections of people. So this would be either based on, well, really any definition of a population that you could use, whether it's by race or gender or socioeconomic status or geographic area, nationality. There are lots and lots of different ways that you can look at populations to look for health concerns, health information that can be beneficial to that population as they make health decisions. And so that's going to be public health informatics. We deal with the entire population there. And then as we go forward, further into the medical informatics space, there's really two major fields that individuals might be interested in. One, of course, is going to be clinical field informatics. So this would be, of course, we've got just regular medicine. This would be doctors and so forth. We've got things like nursing informatics, which deals with the information needs that are specific to nurses. Let me rewrite that. Nursing informatics, we've got pharmacy informatics, PT informatics for physical therapy, and really any clinical field that you can imagine, there's going to be an informatics specialty just for that field. And most of the time, this field is going to be made up of, say, pharmacists and pharmacy informatics. They, of course, bring that pharmacy knowledge, and then they also bring their technology knowledge that they can use in order to benefit their area and the use of informatics tools. And then consumer health informatics is actually designed for individual consumers to use. So this would be things like fitness trackers and all these sorts of things. Apple Health maybe would be a good example of a technology that fits in this space. So it's going to have technology that we can use to, as consumers, make good health decisions. So maybe we track our weight using our phone, and our scale is somehow connected to our phone, and it sends the information. We've got a smart scale. That's a good example of consumer health informatics. It enables us to make good health choices based on our own personal information. So this is the field of informatics as a whole, and then looking specifically at biomedical and healthcare informatics. And as you might have noticed, we have reached our third slide. So this has been Informatics in three slides, and hopefully you're able to leave this video with a better understanding of what exactly informatics is and what health informatics is.